Kathy.
Yes.
That's how you raise your hand.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. We're on? All right. So this gives us an opportunity to recognize the committee that did tremendous work for the town in 2024, and that's the West Swanzey TIF Committee. So we've got certificates, and we'd appreciate it if you come up and call your name. Come on. You're not getting it. Don't worry about it. Kathy works for that. Thank you, Kathy. You will. George, thanks very much. Mr. Bill. This is just a partial recognition of all.
It's all in one, Mr. Bill.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks very much.
Keith is not with us. Scott,
So, is this the last one we don't have? I guess we're all set. Right? Oh, Mr.
he forgot me. Thank you, Rocky.
We have Joseph from Hoyle to give us an update on the project that they're working on. Joseph, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here tonight.
Sure.
So I'm Joseph Pizza from Hoyle Associates. I'm the project manager of the firm. We've been doing work with the town for, I don't know, the past 25 years. We've done a lot of work on pretty much all over the past couple of years. Crescent, Thompson, Sawyer's Cross, and all of them. And then a lot of other roadway areas like Warmack, Cumberland Hill, West Streets, Robin Hollow. And now, the last few years, I've been working with Michael Rethink on the Christian Hill Road Bridge. So I just want to come tonight and provide an update. Since he left the town, I didn't know how much you know, the history, and where do we go, where we are, and where do we go from here. The project, as you know, got federal funding, so we backtrack. We get to go backwards and we do some of the permitting, and that's what we're working right now. There's the federal permit, the NEPA, the National Environmental Protection Act. There's federal permit that we need to get from them. It's quite a process because it's in the historic district, and it's eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. So the past few months, we've created a very bulk document that we sent to the DOT, very reviewed, that has some comments, we're making the revisions. And then next week, we should be able to resubmit back to the DOT, and then it'll go eventually to Washington D.C. for them to review where they'll take it on 2 months or so. They'll come back, they'll approve it, and we should be able to complete the design and advertise the project maybe by the fall. That's our best estimate. We can advertise it for contractors to bid, and then we'll go into construction. Depending on what contractors we get, if they want to work in the winter months, they could work in 2025, and then complete it into the 2026 season.
What do you expect the length of the project?
So, more time will do the contract, the better pricing you're going to get. At the same time, you're not paying anything because it's all funded by the federal government. You give 100% of the funding on the construction side. But it's the right thing to do to give the contractor enough time. We should give them 4 to 5 months. And then they're only going to be here 4 to 5 months. If they have all the projects, if they have enough staffing, if they have enough resources, then they'll come in and leave as soon as they can. Time is money, no one wants to be on the project for longer than they have to. So I suggest that we give them 4 to 5 months window, and then they can pick when that window is, and then get the project done as soon as they can. But the other thing I wanted to discuss was, as part of the NEPA process that I mentioned, the bridge is historic, and there were a lot of issues with additional historic resources from Contractor to have an office in Concord. We had coordinated with them, and we removed the historic bridge. It was a big deal for them, and I said, what are we going to do about mitigation, because we're removing the historic resource, and what are we going to do about mitigation? So we've been brainstorming with Michael, and the great idea that we had was, how about we take what we can from an old bridge, the granite stones, the timbers, whatever we can, and then we build another bridge where we have all the issues with the trail crossings that got washed out a couple of years ago from all the summer and so we got that approved through the DOT, they loved that idea, and so right now it's going to be all 100% funded by the same funding that you get from Christian Hill. So you get 2 projects under the 1 project. So the timbers are rotted, that's why the bridge is closed, that's the reason why it's closed. We could use some of them, but I don't think we can use all of them. So what I'm thinking we do is that we get new timbers, blue line timbers engineered, wood. We span them much deeper. The span, we need to determine the span. We need to do hydraulic analysis. We need to figure out how big the opening needs to be. I'm thinking around 20 to 25 feet, maybe the right span for that crossing. So we put new beams, and then we take some of the old beams, and then we put them on the fascia to cover the new timber. That way it looks that we're using historic fabric from an old bridge. We could deck it with timber deck. We could put runners as sacrificial layer, or I'm sure the trail gets a lot of usage from the maintenance vehicles that town uses, and also from snowmobiles, the spikes they're going to want to chew up the wood, so we could put another layer that's sacrificial that you could replace every so often when it gets damaged. So that's why I'm here, just to talk with the town. I've been coordinating with Joe, we've been coordinating with Stefan, and the trail committee, just to get this going and make sure this is what the town wants. Again, I don't know how much Michael has shared with you, and how much you learned with the weeds into all those different things that we're looking at. So, any questions so far? I know I'm flying through this.
When it comes over to it, is it one company that will do both projects, or is that 2 separate things? Will they
It's probably going to need to be 2 separate companies, because the timing may be that we want to get Christian Hill done first, and then once we remove the timbers and the granite, we store them at the Pine Street by the substation there, the storage substation. We find a place where we can put all the salvage materials, and then we hire a different contractor to finish their
So
job.
that will go back out for bid at the second project, so it's 2 phases.
Because we need to complete our design, we need to figure out what the opening needs to be. We need to do hydraulic analysis, figure out how much water is coming through. I mean, the area has been washed out. It needs to be bigger than what it used to be. That's why it's washed out. But we need to optimize it. We need to make sure that what we're going to put back is going to stand
So
out.
there will be no culverts, it'll just be wide open like the stream going under there.
And I'm guessing right now it's going to be around 20 to 25 feet open.
Okay.
So not the span.
The stand, 25. But we need to do the calculations. We need to complete all those calculations and figure out what that stand needs to be. And we need to do some subsurface investigation, so we need to hire a drilling contractor to come in, and they drill into the trail. We got to go maybe around 25 to 30 feet below the channel, figure out what kind of materials we have, because I don't know if we could use piles for the foundation, or if we could use all those granite blocks without any piles. So we need to know what we have below the channel, make sure that the bridge is going to withstand a long time, and it's going to serve the town. It's not going to be a washout like it is.
So when the first contractor starts and we break that old stuff up and we store it, and they're building the Christian Hill Bridge, is it possible that we could even start on the other one with the other company, since we've got all the material over there, or we're gonna wait another year for that part?
We need to complete our design, so we need to get the permit from DS. We got to complete our design, and The permit alone from DS is gonna take 4 to 5 months to get the wetland permit. And they're gonna scrutinize it because we haven't washed out there, it's been washed out for a couple of years now. And they wanna make sure that what we proposing is gonna be there in the long run and we're not gonna have an issue. So just that alone is gonna be 4 to 5 months. And then we have to do our design, we have to do the borings, we have to do survey, we have to do all that work. So you're talking close to a year by the time we're going to get ready to do the trail bridge. So it may not work out that you're going to have the same contractor. You're going to keep that separate.
Are you making a pedestrian bridge 4 or 5 feet across?
Probably wider. We need to talk with the committee.
Yeah, at least 16 to 18 feet.
What was that like?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like snowmobile groomer, equipment, snowmobile groomers, maintenance equipment, two-way traffic.
Joseph, can you also advise the board of training now for extending the sidewalk on Holbrook because they kind of already need while it's being done?
Yeah, again, Michael was very creative with bringing in more funding and getting more done on this project. So as part of Christian Hill, further down on the trail, where it crosses Holbrook, we're redoing some of the drainage there, and we put in a crosswalk. I forget the name of the street.
It goes up Holbrook Ave, the sidewalk end, we're going to extend Holbrook Ave so it can come down Summer Street, so when that's closed, the people will have access to walk up on the sidewalk.
But the sidewalks will be paid by the DOT 100% as part of the bond of the town and state. So we're kind of doing 3 projects under.
That's great. This is good. You got a fourth in there?
I think we got enough. I think that we, it's a stretch, and I think the town is very lucky that they got this funding in the first place. There was only 24 communities in the whole state that got it, and you are one of those 24 communities that are not being done to get this. This project's run.
Joseph's doing a phenomenal job. The other thing, he's instrumental in helping review the Devon Thompson Bridge too and providing us feedback on how we should go about doing that. So I can't thank you enough, Joseph.
You gotta
The work you've done in the town.
Joseph, the bridge itself, is there steel involved in that too? Is it, what goes, what carries the whole bridge to the top? The trail rail, what's gonna, that bridge, the old bridge that they're pulling out?
Yeah, the old one was a stone collar. So you had a bunch of stones that were stacked up, and then the water was flowing under you. It was too small, so when the water level goes up, you just wash it behind it around it, and then you wash everything out. If you go there, you see all the stones that have been.
They did, so I couldn't believe that.
That was the collar. It was too small, it needs to be a bit bigger than what it used to be. So what I need to know from the town and the trail committee, what kind of loading, I was talking to Bruce earlier, just like what kind of loading, the maintenance vehicle, the footprint, the width, how wide we need to make that. Probably some railing on either side, because now you have a span, right?
Sure.
You want to make sure it's safe.
I could work with you on that. I could show you on the bridges that we recently to see what the railings look like, the round boards, the decking material, all of that.
Again, from Division of Historic Resources, they want us to use as much as we can. From our perspective, we want to build something that's going to last on the rail bridge. So that's why I want to make sure that we're on the same page with the town, that whatever we could take from there, we could put it on the outside so we could see the historic fabric, but the structural components are going to be new timbers. They're going to be pressure treated, engineered wood, and they're going to be designed to carry all the maintenance vehicles that we want. And then those old timbers are going to be almost like some official layer from outside. If we're all on the same page, that's the way we should move forward.
Yes, so you mentioned that the DOT is covering the cost of all of this.
Yep.
Because I want to make sure, because we the trail group, we don't have any plans with any funding or anything.
The
Because
construction
we've been
cost.
told that this project's going to cover all the costs.
The construction cost, yes. We need to design it, so we need to scope our effort, and there'll be, I believe, 80-20. So 80% from the state, and then 20% from the town. Again, I don't know how much Michael is sharing.
Is that material cost?
There'll be our cost to design it, to get the permit, to apply for the permit, and advertise it, and get a contractor on board. beyond that.
So the DOT is covering construction, but not the engineering,
80% of engineering,
the engineering, and the town's got to pick up 20.
20%. Not only the number, I don't know what all the cost is going to be.
Yeah, we got to get a feel for what that is, see how it's covered.
And then when we get to construction, it will be 100%.
DOT.
DOT through federal funding.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the first project that's been done like this ever.
Really?
I've been doing this for 22 years. And recently I was at the ACC conference in Concord, and had a conference last week. And, the lady who works for us, who does this kind of permitting, and we brainstormed and we came up with those ideas. She presented this at that conference, and we are careful not to give too much information, get too much into the weeds, but everyone was like, wow, how did this get done? But Michael was instrumental in that to brainstorm and talk to the
So Joseph, when do you think you might have an estimate on the engineering cost, so we get an idea?
in about a week or so.
In a week, you said?
In about a week.
Also, back to the new Christian Hill Bridge. What's the clearance underneath that? The width?
It will be 24 feet, I believe.
Wide? You know?
The opening.
Yeah,
The height is going to be, we had coordinated on this before, we've had several meetings. I believe it's going to be
Is it as high as it is right now?
not as high.
Okay, so we gotta make sure equipment can get under that.
We had coordinated, so we made sure that it was going to get accommodated. I know you haven't been on Christian Hill recently because it's been closed, but it's quite a hump when you go
Yep.
from Christian Hill to the intersection. And we're going to cut that down to make it really safe and more drivable, because right now you go over the hump and the sight distance when you look, you can't easily see. So that's going to come down, I believe, around 4 feet. And then it's going to be a precast concrete structure.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure groomers, excavator, dump truck and all this underneath.
Yeah, I believe we had coordinated on that in the past.
Yeah,
all
all
the
the discussions about that.
Okay.
I can send you the
All
details.
right.
Okay, well, everything will be able to go over that after we're done?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it will be designed for all legal roads,
oh,
some legal roads.
wonderful.
We have most of the easements, we just coordinated with Eversource, we need an easement from Eversource, they own one of the parcels. I'll send, they send us some verbiage that they have some insurance things, so I don't know if you want to send that to the town attorney just to bless it. Because they asked me the town to identify Eversource entity. So I think it's wise, I'll send you what they sent us, the markups, that way you can send it to, who's the town attorney?
In this case, Cordell Johnson.
Okay.
But you would address it to the town administrator.
Yep. And then if you could just have him read it, make sure that the verbiage that Eversource wants to lease that is going to be on.
So in your message, you'll be able to remind Laura that it's going, it needs to go through council. So with the second bridge, there's no cost to the town for that?
The only cost is
Other than the
20% of opera fee, 20% of the.
They cover all, it covers all materials, labor.
That was the agreement that we had with the state, and it's all in written form. Michael was CC on the email, and I printed it. Any other questions?
So one of the letters that asked with regard to any need for easement, and there's, my understanding is there's no need for an easement on.
Which about our trainers, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've coordinated with the trainers quite a bit. We've had meetings with them, we've had public meetings, they've gone to the meetings, we've met only with them on quite a few occasions. Recently, we also went to meet with them again, but the weather did not cooperate, and we went to the site, and couldn't come out. It was a hot summer day, wherever it was, but we don't need any easement from them. They do have a big house that's encroaching the state property. The state is fully aware. They need to get relocated from the area because it's within the excavation that we need to do to complete the Christian Hill property. So the state has sent letters to them notifying them that they encroach the state property, and that the state is being,
The letter was sent to them advising them they need to move it out. Last I knew, it wasn't moved yet, but the state's getting ready to take further action to make certain that that needs to be moved sooner than later. Yeah, they already advised they needed to. Last I knew they didn't, and then the state's getting ready to take more action.
So prior to us getting the federal funding on the project, we had met with the trainers and they had special requests for staying in concrete and doing the painted rail, which is had a bit of cost of the project because it's galvanized steel, not easily paintable, so it's a special process. And luckily, again, with Michael being instrumental in pushing all those things through, we got the DOT to approve it. So that was a request of the trainers. We're also going to stain the concrete to a different color, not standard, that's extra cost. We move that to the state, we move that to. And when we were coordinating before we had federal funding, the B house was not there. And recently it's been put out there, that's what we know is. It's clearly outside the property, based on what we know, what we've seen, what the state has told us. So we don't need an easement from them to remove that, they just need to get it out, so we can destroy the property. Then they can get it.
That's a state issue.
The state issue, but also our issue, because if they leave it there, we can't excavate, be able to go down and remove all bridge and put the new bridge back. We do need the state to coordinate with them and get their result. Because it's on their property, not on ours.
Will you be able to send the engineering estimate to the town of this review?
Yeah, I will send it to the town first, that we bless it, and we could meet, if you have any comments, I could come in person, I would do it virtually, whatever works, and then we need to get it to the DOT for them to do it, because they want to be 80%, and they have more heat in the game than we're going to be able to. We're going to keep that effort in minimal cost. We've talked with the administrator from the DOT, who named us a program going out. It's federally funded. Every time we get federal funds, there's a lot of hoops to jump. They've made exceptions to us, so we get next to our things faster, and we don't need to do as much as we typically do in a typical project. So they've given us clear direction, and we can cut some steps and keep this moving forward faster.
We appreciate you coming in.
You're welcome. I didn't know how much you knew and how much Michael was really good, just coordinating, and also left out the notes.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Not coordinated with your board, so. We do have a meeting with you tomorrow, I can send you the link with the project manager. Joe can come on the meeting, Stefan can come, so I think it'd be good for you if you came tomorrow. I forget, what time do we have it? It may be 1 or 1:30. I can send you the link.
1 o'clock.
Okay.
No, yeah, 1 o'clock.
I could send you the link, I think it would be good for you to get introduced to the. And the lady from DOT who's the project manager is awesome, like she keeps things moving. And for a while, when we were working on the project prior to her taking the project over, it was just hard to get answers from the DOT and keep things moving. But we have regular scheduled meetings with her every month, and we just try to keep things moving as fast as we can. No complaints, everything's going well with that coordination with the state.
We appreciate you keeping it together. Thank you. Thanks for
Very nice to meet you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe, so I do something for you.
The next item on our agenda is awarding the construction management contract for the new fire station. For those of you who don't know, we've had several meetings with regard to the architect and that firm and the work that they've done. We had a meeting with 3 of the proponents who submitted proposals. We had sent the bid package out to 10. We included all of the Swanzey businesses that we were aware of, and from the 10, we did receive 3. And the 3 bidders were Gordon Services, DEW, and Hutter Construction, all very fine firms, well recognized in the area. Any discussion? Jim?
Just, do we need to discuss, the new pricing on,
We can.
I don't need to.
What's your pleasure? You want to make that motion?
Motion that we award Gordon Services as the CM for the new fire station proposal in their 2025 fire station proposal in the amount of
2.5,
2.5 million.
and there's an understanding that they would, well, first of all, we said that.
I second.
So there was an acknowledgement on their part, along with DPW Director Joe Russo, that they will work collaboratively on site work that would help to reduce the cost of the site work. And at our meeting, Joe estimated that savings would be about $250,000. Some of that would come from town hall, town staff, but in large part that Gordon Services agreed to loan us their equipment at no charge. Is there anything I missed in that?
No, that's correct. They expressed an interest in donating the equipment time for any of the work that DPW can do with the site. They've also indicated they'll let us use whoever we have for paving contractor this year. The RFP just went out on that today. So we'll include that with our road passage, which we haven't done in the past, and it saves us some money. The other thing I asked at the board, there were some discussions of requiring the construction company to get multiple bids from their subcontractor. I don't think that's necessary because it's not going to impact what their estimate and their guaranteed maximum price is. So I asked the board to forego that requirement.
Is that something we could address during the contract phase?
Yes. But I think if the board can vote on it now, we can do that without having to come back to the board for that
You're
contract.
asking the vote just to bring it up, you mean?
No, to make it so that's not a requirement of the contract to require them to get multiple bids from their subcontractors.
So you're basically saying that what we did was we received 3 bids, and which we're required to do, and we've accomplished that. And we made our decision, and whatever contractors the CM uses is entirely up to them.
Yes, it won't have any impact on our final price. And the other thing is, we will make it so that a lot of times these general contractors use the same subcontractors that work well together with one another. They've identified that, so we don't want to break that cohesion and let them work together with who they want, and it will have no impact on the final price of the project.
Consider that as a second motion for this part. We all understanding what we're doing.
Well, not incorporate either segment, at least not go on. I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then, so you're recommending that we craft a motion to waive the three bid requirement on the part of the construction manager.
Correct, for the subcontractors.
I make a motion that Gordon Services is not required to get 3 bids from subcontractors on this project.
Could we just keep it general, that the construction manager?
Construction is not required to get 3 bids for subcontractors.
Second. Okay, the only thing that I saw in that, Joe, that I want to ask you about is that, are you going to have the ability to, because one of the issues that I didn't see why we needed that, okay? And the only thing that did enlighten me to that was that the fact that we opened the doors to somebody that you might recommend to them. Is that door still open?
That door's still open, they'll still consider it, but by removing that requirement, it just makes it so that they can proceed faster. It takes a lot of time to get 3 different quotes for each different thing. When they already know the electrician that they work with, they know the framer they work with. But no, they said that there are local contractors that are interested in discussing different prices, they're open to it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, Board of Services. Next item on our agenda is administrator transition, in particular reviewing the memo from Alex Torpey, Rethink Local. Did you all have an opportunity to read this memo? It's not in the packet at all. It is. Okay. Did you have a chance to read it?
Yes, I did.
Any thoughts?
I'm not sure if that third paragraph addresses it. I'm a little confused with that.
Okay.
And I don't feel by being what we did is we did, and we did, and maybe, I don't think it addresses the all.
So the rest of me?
I think so, Bill, and I'm confused a little, and then I'm not agreeable with some of that. I mean, you asked me to think that, so I feel like I don't think, what you suggested that, we all take trouble to departments, and that the fear that we had to do in the situation we're in. You had to do what you had to do in the situation we're in. I don't think that the complaints are legitimate from department heads, as I understand. There was a lot of department heads that complained.
Very good.
Huh?
There may be.
Right. I think some of these things that had to be done, they had no time to straight. There it goes back to how I felt.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that when I met with Alex, he told me he was gonna write the memo. So, I really don't expect anything.
Sure.
I agree, I think that they had a lot more than I thought of.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is I understand it's going on with you, but if we have to take that with a grain of salt too, in some manners. There's a lot in there that I don't believe really heard.
I take it to heart, and I think it's that I think we erred by creating a situation with a temporary part-time town administrator. And one of the aspects that we all have been working on is succession plans, and we really, in my opinion, need to work diligently on that. To some degree with budget constraint, but we at least need to have it out there. The last time we went through this was back when Beth had left and Shane was coming in. We had an interim period of 3 or 4 months, and the select board at that time engaged Chief Busick to handle the role as town administrator for that 3 or 4 months. And I think the mistake that we made was thinking that we could accomplish the same by having a part-time interim town administrator. And in fairness to Alex, I think he did his best he could in that circumstance. But it left 3 days of the week where there was no communication. It was really us working with Megan. And Megan held the fort down, in my opinion. And really, we would have been aligned if it weren't for you. So I do take it to heart. I think it's right. I think we just need to be better prepared should the occasion arise in the future. And I think by having a succession plan, we can accomplish that. But I also think if we put on the record that we made a mistake, and if it's me that made the mistake, that's fine. I think we made a mistake in conjunction with Michael, that we went with the part-time interim. I think we should have gone with somebody, we should have taken a department head or maybe somebody who was a retiree and brought them in for that time period. Then there would have been somebody that people could have worked with, somebody hopefully that they knew. But, all that's Monday morning quarterbacking. The other part of it, I think we did right. I think by splitting up the different departments, we ensured that each of the department heads had a line of communication to the select board. Did we overstep? Maybe. Did we understep? Maybe. But I think we did the best we could with the circumstances. And I think again, if it hadn't been for Megan, it expanded hours on Wednesday to run later in the evening to give people an opportunity to come in either early, 8 o'clock, or I think as of 7 o'clock. So she's done her best to expand hours and stay open. But for one reason or another, the office has had sporadic hours, as I mentioned, over the course of the last year. So we've hired someone who's qualified as a deputy tax collector or a deputy town clerk, and that individual has been putting in additional time. We also have at least one other deputy town clerk who's available to us through May, and then gone for the summer because of other duties with the rec department, but will be available in the fall and sporadically as well. But the goal is that the understanding is we can't set the hours, but the goal is to do what we can to make sure that the office is manned. And it's not from anybody's personal issues or anything else, it's just circumstance. Somebody gets sick, but we'll be able to keep the town clerk's office open. And Lori is finding the money for us to be able to make that happen. And so far, she's very optimistic. Any questions on that? Hopefully they heard us. The next item is we had, Lori, do you want to speak to the World War II?
You might want to speak to that because that was like the first day that I came here and it was, I think you have a little more background. It's quite an honor that I do know. I was just asked to sign the document, so I think you have.
Fortunately, you were sitting in the seat when the request came through. I know a little bit about this. The airport marketing committee discussed it at their meeting. Would have been April 22nd, and it was brought up towards the tail end of the meeting that a Swanzey resident, Bud Windsor, had done a lot of research with regard to the impact that the Dillon Hopkins Airport had for World War II service, both the formation of the airport and the different services that were available because the airport had been constructed, and then additional opportunities that the airport has served for military service. As you know, there's Black Hawk helicopters going in and out. So I didn't realize that when that was brought up that this was going to be coming forth. I was hopeful that somebody from the committee would address the board and give us an understanding of what they were doing and why they were doing it. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. Instead, Lori was presented with an email document and asked to sign it that day, which she did, and we thank her for doing it.
I did ask you first.
You did ask, but didn't wait for a response.
So I already did this all.
Oh, okay, good job. So we do have this document, and we'll have it available at town hall that better explains what I've said. Okay. Town supervisor, town manager. The next item on our agenda is an acknowledgement of donation materials for the new recycling attendance shelter. And this is, as you may know, if you've gone into the recycling, next to the dumpsters on the left-hand side, we do have a shelter, but on the right-hand side, we don't. And we do have 2 staff members that are there, so one can use it, the other one can't. And that's in all types of weather. Inclement, hot, they didn't miss a meeting because the temperatures were too hot. They didn't miss their shift. But the hope was, and we've been pushing for it for a few years, is that Josh and his team will be able to put a new shelter together. And it's my pleasure to acknowledge Brian Rogers and his wife, Jen. They contributed the materials for this and had them delivered by Hemshaw. So it's all brand new material. This isn't anything that came off his residence. So Brian and Jen, thank you very much on behalf of the Recycling Center. And Josh said they'll be working on that this summer so that both Charlie and John will have their shelter. Next item, we have three items coming up that we're going to be seeking volunteers for. One is the governance committee, and that's a committee that we discussed forming during the fall and early winter of last year. We'll put a charge together, but basically we're hoping to field a committee, much like the fire station committee and the West Swanzey TIF committee, to research ways that the town could look into better governance. What instigated it for me was people's desire to go back to town meeting and to have that sense of collaboration. I think they felt that way because of the new selectman last year, Mr. Tempesta, who could bring his wares and we could all enjoy lunch or brunch or whatever. But have a meeting where we could all come together. And this particular warrant that we had in 25 was an ideal warrant for town meeting. We would have bought the water company if we had a town meeting. We would have secured the bond to do that if we had a town meeting, because it would have been an opportunity to discuss it. People would have understood the pluses, they would have understood the negatives of not doing it, which we hopefully don't experience, but may experience. So I know I've approached, and Mark and Jim, we've all approached several, you guys. So we'll be setting up that committee. We'll also be setting up a committee that has more of a long-term vision. And that's a committee that would be formed to look into the purchase of the West Swanzey Water Company. We have an opportunity to come back in 2027. We can't try before that, that's by statute. So that's what I meant by it being more long-term. It'll give an opportunity for a committee to help our staff put together a funding stack and also put together a program from a marketing perspective that will help us to better market that for 2027. And if the governance committee recommends town meeting and the people in 26 agree to go to town meeting, we'll be able to discuss it at town meeting in 27. We'll see how that goes. And then the third is the formation of a West Swanzey TIF advisory board, and that'll be a 5-member board. It'll be a three-year commitment. The 5 members will be staggered. There'll be 2 for 3 years, 2 for 2 years, and 1 for 1 year. And obviously, that person can run again. That's a long-term project. The TIF district was just recently formed, and we need to have an advisory board for that. So that'll be coming out. So, Michael,
Yeah,
do you have interest in any of the 3?
yes, the governance is probably my most, the interest I have the most.
Okay, well, you're on my list.
I've already done a little homework on it,
Yeah.
as you have that.
Stacy?
Yes, they have.
Governance, well, one of us put you on the list for that as well. We appreciate that. Jim, now that you're back and hustling,
Yeah,
do you have a preference of whether it's the water committee or the governance or both?
can I tell you the next meeting?
Absolutely. Can we put your name down as possible? Because that's what we hope to do in non-public before we leave, because we don't want to mention people in public, but compile our list.
Okay.
Administrative update. I'll let you off the hook and you can give Edna's report.
First day that I actually came, was able to sit at my desk and didn't have to go to any meetings or anything, so it was really good, actually.
Okay.
We have a lot of work to do. I haven't had a chance to look at the SOP for the office procedures, but I'm just trying to get in and prioritize what needs to be prioritized. And I think there's a lot going on, so just finding a way and kind of prioritize the needs as they come at me.
You're doing a fine job. Thank you. So can you speak to that or just a
I,
general comment?
yeah, she was, I think, supposed to be part of the report for the uncovered. school programs that Kempton Housing Authority is offering for families and children that attend the SAU District 29 and SAU 93. She feels it's a great program, but she is seeing that what she sees happening in some Keene, Chesterfield, Harrisville, Marlow, Nelson, and Westmoreland have been placed in Swanzey West. So she says she hopes the program lasts about years. If it doesn't work out, the funding stop, then they're sent to the town. So that would become more of a budgetary issue, I guess. And she had a list of stuff. I think that's just a memo from the clean housing, that just describes the outcomes of the program.
Thanks. Just under, just thing to make sure you're aware of it. Did you see this in your email? Anybody interested in clean energy roundtable?
Okay, that's kind of here.
Oh, this is there's a committee. It's referred to as the annual Monadnock Clean Energy Roundtable. It's scheduled for May 22nd at Stonewall Farm. Is anybody interested? And then, speaking of meetings, I brought Gloria into a meeting with a group of 87 communities around the country. This had to do with the zip codes. Imagine that. So this is a committee that Michael had pretty much handled all of this, and Lori will moving forward. I just sat it on in case it was a question and answer, and could help her with some of our history, but it wasn't. It was receive only. So this committee started in 2007, and they've been gradually building up steam. They feel very confident that through a bill proposed by Representative Bover from Colorado that they're going to finally get something passed. Their concern is that the Senate is where we need to do the most work. And for those that don't know, this would be re-zip coding the area of North Swanzey that's 03431 and bring it back into, or bring it into Swanzey 03446. So this is informational. If you want it, you're welcome to take it. At some point, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have public hearings like we did before. The one thing that I'll share that was very obvious if you attended the meetings that we had, whatever it was, 7 or 8 years ago, the post office doesn't care. So the bills might get passed, and there might be requirements that be input, but the post office has made it clear to Congress they don't care. We'll see how it goes, but it sounds like we're close to at least getting something through the House. All right, last shot at public input.
Bill, can I just, these had come in late, and I already gave you guys the agenda, so I didn't have them.
Just gonna speak up.
So these came in late, and I didn't give it, I had already sent the agenda out and didn't want to have them, so I was planning on adding them to the next week's agenda. But I don't know if some of these might be pressing for time. Well, this one is just to change the authorization, to change Michael's lead for these, the grants.
stuff being piled up. And he said that he was working with the board of selectmen to work on something as far as approach on this. Have you done all new or?
It's my opportunity. So I asked other two selectmen here if I could take on that challenge, Jim, because I feel the way you feel. I'm very disappointed in some of these places, so they gave me the go-ahead to head something up, so I started a while back, but I'm going to give you an update. So last week I took the health officer, code officer, tax collector, and me. We all got in the town car, and I asked them to take me to the 5 worst homes in town of Swanzey of, pretty bad shape, and we addressed all 5 homes. What our plan is, we're going to meet weekly and quickly, like maybe 15 minutes, just to update where we are with this. Letters are going to go out to the first 5 homes. We're going to attack this in groups. We're going to grab the worst ones and work our way down, see where they go. We did go to every site, we address them, so there'll be letters going out to all 5 of them, with telling them that this must be cleaned up. We're going to put a time on it. We're all old cars, and we've been to some places that were really in bad shape, and they need to be addressed. And we're going to go at this a little aggressively. They had their opportunity for many years, these homes, to do something about it. I saw no movement, and so I'm pushing that we go at this a little aggressive, and we're going to see how it goes. And we put together a good team, and we're going to go after it. That's the update I got, and I figured I'd update you guys as we go. And we're going to get some letters out, so you're going to see some action soon, Jimmy, hopefully. Okay?
Anything else? It's not a simple process. No, it's not a simple process.
Because as a court security officer, I saw some of these cases come in. If the person can prove some value to what we call junk, then if he can prove to the court that there's some value to that, then there's not a lot we can do about it because the judge is going to deny us. I saw that in the Troy case. Sat there for 4 hours. Troy trying to address an issue of something like Bill's squad over here on Route 10.
Not this bill. I don't live on it.
No. I'm telling you,
Let's not
the guy
let's not get specific.
not you, Bill.
No, let's not get
Names.
specific.
Yeah, so the majority of these lots that I went to, there was a lot of problems of could be DES, could be oil, gas tanks. There is a lot of unregistered vehicles that have no wheels on them, snowmobiles, 4-wheelers that are sitting in dirt for many years, trees growing through them. Could have oil. They got, there's a lot of health hazards, so I'm going to take every avenue to make this work, so.
But the health hazard is the easiest one to deal with as far as if there's a health issue, the health officer, yes, you can.
That's why I had the health officer with me, I had the code officer with me, I had the tax clerk with me, and me. So we have a team that we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of ability. We'll see where this goes. There's a lot for me to learn too.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a lot of challenges, but I'm going to see where it goes. I'm going to see if I get shut down, but I'm going to give it my all.
Maybe get 5 of them to comply, and the rest of it will fall in line. Maybe.
Well, I figure if we stand out so people see it and we let the public know that we're not going to allow it, that people that want to keep guys like that, they're going to have to find another town that accepts it. But I want to say Swansea doesn't accept that.
So
It's not fair to their neighbors, the people, there's some houses that are next to these places that have beautiful lawns and flowers and they value their house and they have to turn around and look at that. It's not fair. It's not fair. It just it shouldn't exist.
Right.
We're going to eliminate it.
Well, good luck. It's been a long time coming.
Thank you.
If I get it, I'll keep on going.
What do you see?
Before you go, we just want to acknowledge our new minute taker. If she hasn't been dissuaded from today, Sue Wells has stepped in and she's going to take over for Beverly. And she's done a great job, Lori, in between. I'm sorry?
She gonna be doing a planning board also?
That's my understanding.
I'm not available tomorrow
did that authorize, I think, grants.
for,
Do you want to listen? Do you want to
what's
listen?
the top title?
Stormwater asset management?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about for the following ARPA grant and clean water state revolving loan? Okay. Fund project.
Home project for the stormwater asset management, Robert Hill Road, Slow Stabilization, California, Northwood, Chesapeake, Brooklyn. Energy efficiency, solar array, comprehensive WWTS.
There's a lot of them.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay.
We'll give this-
Thanks very much, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Steve?
So, that's up to some,